Welcome. Your direct experience is where it's at. What do I mean by that? I mean that if something is happening or you hear of something and you didn't experience it yourself, and when I say experience it, I mean with your physical reality, where you are in the present moment, then you can't really know about it, right? So let me give you an example that happened to me today, and I just wanted to bring it up, right? Somebody came knocking on my door earlier this morning, and he said, "Hey, how are you?" And I just, said, "Good. How are you?" And then he said to me, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." He had two other people with him. And he said to me, I want to show you. And he pulls out his phone and he says, "What do you think God thinks about the war?" Right? He just showed me on his phone. I looked at him and I smiled and I said, "Well, you came to the right place because I just happen to be talking about stuff like this all day." So the first thing that I said is, how can you put a label on such a thing or being or whatever you want to call it when we really don't know, right? In other words, when you put a label on something, you diminish it, right? You make it look very, very small because we are trying to put a label with our 3-pound mind. Think about it for just 1 second. Our brain is what, 3 pounds, 4 pounds? I'll give it 6 pounds, right? I feel generous today. How can you put a label in such a vast being by calling it God or whatever? So we can't put a label, number one. And number two, we really don't know. Talking about wars and what God thinks, well, how would you know, right? So again, this is what I'm talking about, our direct experience, right? You can easily find out and you can connect with universal intelligence or, with what we call the field, or you want to call it God or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, right? I just don't like putting labels on stuff. How do you actually connect? It's actually not that hard. Most of us think it's hard, but it's not. See, if you bring your attention right here to the present moment and you put your attention right to your heart center, and you just simply focus on that for a bit. And as you focus on this for a little bit, you will notice that you are going to feel some kind of a vibration, energy, some emotions might come through. You're really shifting your focus to it. And then from there, as you put your focus on it, you're going to notice that your thoughts are going to start to subside. Our thoughts are what are causing us to actually disconnect, if you want to call that. Okay, if you want to disconnect from God or source or the universe or the field or whatever you want to call it, it is our thoughts. So when we subside, or when the thoughts subside and we have this connection, you're going to have information coming to you. And I've said this many, many times, right? So whatever you are experiencing at that particular moment, that is your direct experience. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't need to read a book about it. You don't need to do anything about it. Why? Because again, a book is somebody else's experience. And in some cases, it's not just one author. There could be multiple people writing it, right? So your direct experience is what counts. I've had instances where people, for example, would come up to me and they would tell me, "Oh, don't talk to so-and-so." This is in my younger days. Now I know much better, of course. "Don't talk to so-and-so because they are such a bad person," right? They gossip, they talk bad about others, they'll try to rip you off, they'll do whatever, right? Most people, when they hear something negative about somebody, it will affect them, right? And granted, it affected me too when I was younger. But now, by somebody telling me that, for example, what do? I go directly and I try to communicate with the person that they were telling me not to communicate with. Why is this? Because I want to have my direct experience. And I will tell you something, about 99.9% of every single time that I did it, my experience with the same person was totally the opposite. Why is this? We're talking about the same person, right? Yes. But there's so many different variables that take place. The other person saw this person in their own mind, in their own perspective, how they see them. I saw them differently. I guarantee you, they see themselves differently. So, my direct experience and the other person's direct experience were two different things. Do you see what I'm getting at? So, what am I trying to say here? Plain and simple. When you shift your focus, when you shift your awareness towards yourself and towards what is happening in your immediate and direct environment, the information that's going to come through and the impact that it's going to have in your life are remarkable. By you worrying, for example, what is happening, 6,000 miles across the globe, just an example, how does this benefit you directly in the present moment? Does it? It's like saying a star in so-and-so galaxy, in the Z galaxy, for example, that is like, 10,000 light years away or 30,000 light years away, all of a sudden the star blew up. Okay. Does it affect you in this present moment? Do you see what I'm getting at? So fine, I understand. I have the knowledge about it. I get it. I get that knowledge and I move on. Because your life, again, and your experiences, whatever it is that you need to experience, revolve around you. Yes, you heard me. Think of the world as being the way it is, or the universe being the way it is, and you are the center where everything, gravitates around. Yes, you're going to tell me a lot of people might say, this is kind of selfish thinking. Actually, it's not. Because I will tell you something. When you cross over, for example, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to give a life review to yourself. Nobody else judges you. Nobody else, it's you. Okay? So when you give this life review, it is about you and how you made others feel. Literally. It's not about how much money you made. It's not about how many cars you had in the driveway, how many homes, or anything like that. But what you are going to find is you're going to find highly, highly, very important how you made others feel, right? Because this is how we grow, we expand, and we evolve. If you made others feel horrible, for example, you are going to feel that. Now, this is not punishment, don't get me wrong. This has nothing to do with karma. This has nothing to do with punishment. It has to do with you evolving and expanding. Remember, there's no right or wrong. It's just experience, okay? So I'm not saying that you are doing something wrong by making somebody feel bad in a spiritual sense, okay? Here in the 3D world, of course, we can't go around, talking bad to people or anything like that, because it does have an effect on them. So what do? We try to make people feel better. I do the same every day. I try to make as many people feel better. Why? Because it makes me feel better at the same time. It really does. You see, we're all connected. When I see people happy, it makes me happy. When I see people sad, yes, it's going to affect me, but at the same time, I'm going to try to turn that page to something positive. It's really that simple. What kind of an impact do we have on others? What is it that we can do to make their life a little bit better? What is our direct experience with that person? If I see somebody and I notice that they are having a hard time with something, or maybe they're having a bad day, or whatever the case is, I will do my best to try to lift them up. Literally. And sometimes, just being there makes the difference. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You just stop, sit, be around, and your energy does the talking. So, again, back to the direct experience that I was saying. If you hear others talking about others, for example, don't pay attention to it. You need to pay attention to your direct experience with those other people, for example. Right? It's like, somebody buys a brand new vehicle, right? And they have a horrible experience with it because it was breaking down or was constantly in the shop or whatever, and somebody else buys the identical vehicle and they have the greatest experience, right? So again, what is your direct experience? That is what matters. So, on that note, love and light to all. No matter what you do, be the greatest you. Always shine bright. Remember to put your focus in your direct path, in your direct environment, because by doing so, you are reclaiming your power right here, right now. Bye for now. Love yous all.